Hello. So I've had so many requests for a fashion critique of the Oscars that I decided to do it, and my offering will come soon. And as you see, I'm all dressed up for the occasion. I think that's it. I'm going through a very long list of fashion victims and survivors, and some conquerors as well. I hope you enjoy the show. Jessica Chastain in a sparkly Gucci nightie, plus two party balloons. Look, it's obvious this isn't just an awards ceremony. It's also an advertising opportunity, isn't it? Here's Zendaya in a lovely sparkly skirt and half a shirt, so that the producers can see how slim she is. Tracy Ellis, almost in a red dress, lovely skirt. Shane the dressmaker ran out of fabric halfway up. Julianne Huff, I don't know, in a very elegant yellow dress. It's nice. Pleating and drapery on the bodice, that's a bit of a thing now. And also on the hips to give us some shape. Graceful train. That's another thing. The only gripe I have is that someone with a bosom that small shouldn't be exposing its shortcomings quite so much. Molly Sims in basically a nice ball gown until that pelmet fell on her. Diane Guerrero in a lovely summery frock. One glove black, or it looks very 1950s really. One glove is black and, it's probably very dark grey, and one glove white, and then a silver handbag that's sort of halfway between grey and white. They're very nice. Now, when I went through the pictures earlier, to get them in order, I noticed a few style ideas that seem to be repeating. In this case, note that bodice, which is in two sections. There's a sort of outside fabric, which has a completely straight neckline or chest line, or whatever you want to call it. And then there's a sort of modesty strip coming up from underneath over the bust. The dress also has a train. There are more trains at this party than they have at Paddington. Here's Bill Murray wearing a beret and a scarf. That air conditioning can be vicious. Uma Thurman, take a letter, Miss Smith. Oh, I notice you're not wearing your glasses today. Maya Rudolph wearing the sort of thing some housewives might wear when they're expecting the milkman to come round. Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker. A simple enough dress that doesn't suit her rounded figure, but then she doesn't have to worry about such things. However, she is a little bit worried because that's why she's standing with her legs crossed, to make it look narrower. However, I appreciate that Mr. Barker has very well polished shoes, and that's not a given nowadays, and nice to see. Mila Kunis channeling the mummy. Javier Bardem in a nice suit and trousers of a decent width at last. Well done, Javier. Rachel Ziegler in a dress she has suddenly realised was a big mistake. It's see-through. And notice that she's crossing her legs. That's not because she needs to go to the ladies, and neither is it because she's trying to preserve a sharp line. It's not that sort of skirt. No, it's because she suddenly realised that she's standing against a white background and she doesn't want the cameras to pick up the white wall shining through between her legs, or even worse, not shining through between her legs. Jennifer Garner, and she's about the best dressed woman I've seen so far. A split bodice, but not split too far. Lovely little draped shoulder straps or sleeves or whatever they're called. Lovely neat figure, a bit of corsetry to keep everything smooth. Gorgeous. Props to Miss Garner. You'll see a few more of those little sleevelet things as we go along, but not done so well. Penelope Cruz in a dress that looks like something that might have happened if Ellie Mae from the Beverly Hillbillies wanted to make a sophisticated dress for a neighbourhood barbecue and Miss Hathaway bought the fabric for her. Queen Latifah looking like she just climbed out of a vat of custard. Nice dress, nice overgown, but there is such a thing as too much, Miss Latifah. Tiffany Haddish, absolutely splendid. She has a generous but a good figure. Notice she also has that straight bodice neckline with the modesty strip coming through at the top. Lovely fabric, beautiful. Elegant train. There's more training here than you'd find in an Olympic sports centre. Billie Eilish, who has apparently recently died. She should have stuck to the tracksuits. Nikolai Coster-Waldau, making a little extra cash in his second job as a waiter. That's the problem with white suits. You have to wash them a lot, and they do shrink, don't they? Could you find me a glass of champagne? Here's Megan Thee Stallion. I probably mispronounced that. In a well-corseted cloud of organza, draperies, godets, pleats and frills. And, of course, the train. And she's showing off a leg that would have been better under cover, in my opinion. Audrey Hepburn lives. Zoe Kravitz in a beautiful pink number with a bow on the bodice, or maybe it's that side. Going to get it the wrong way round because the camera's shows everything the wrong way round. Anyway, a bow on the bodice that gives fullness in a place where there should have been fullness if she hadn't been so thin. However, she can carry that off. It's a lovely colour. She looks as sweet as a sugar almond. Shawn Mendes looking smart. Someone please straighten that bow tie. That's the trouble with clip-ons. Kirsten Stewart in Chanel. Sorry, Kirsten, but with that badly bleached, messy mop of hair, the open shirt and the shorts, you do look like a hooker. Go and get dressed. Jay Ellis, in white with black lapels and black shirt. Black shirts seem to be very fashionable right now. Just don't eat anything that has crumbs, Jay. Cynthia Erivo. Apparently, she has a really bad back. Also, has anyone noticed how closely she resembles the British actor Don Warrington? I'll put a picture up. The guy who rented a room in Rigby's house in the 1980s sitcom Rising Damp. Well, have you ever seen the two in the same room together? No. And here's J.K. Simmons, whoever he is, in one of my late father's old suits. And Ava DuVernay, fresh from her role as the daughter of Ming the Merciless. H.E.R., who seems to have been late and grabbed the first thing she found on the way out, but being unable to see too much because of those sunglasses, she didn't realise it was the bedsheet. Jada Smith, I've changed my mind about the pantomime horse. It looks more as if she got tangled up in seaweed. I'll say no more, seeing as I'm worried her hubby will come round and slap me about. It's not the slapping I'm worried about so much, but the maudlin speech he'd force me to listen to afterwards, which, I have an idea, would give even Vogon poetry a run for its money. Serena Williams, terrifying in a negligee. Danielle Kaluuya. Ladies, I have on several occasions advised you not to wear satin, as it shows all the lumps and bumps, even in places where there aren't any lumps and bumps. Well, you chaps, that goes for you too. Catriona Balfe. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. A plain top and all the emphasis on the hips and that beautiful pencil skirt with a train going off behind it to hide the kick pleat or the slit there would have to be in the back so she can walk. A beautiful, elegant dress. Lovely. And again, a train. More trains here than the Ukrainians blew up on the Russian supply convoys. Will Smith. Shame his manners don't match his refined suit. Interestingly, in Britain, the derogatory term for a woman of flexible sexual morality is a slapper. Interesting that in this case, both of them are slappers. I'm dicing with death here, aren't I? Maggie Gyllenhaal, I think that's pronounced. And look, she got Schiaparelli to make a dress out of the box of chocolates her hubby gave her. Ah, bless. And Jake Gyllenhaal, he wears it well, yeah. Jessie Buckley, dressed for her latest role in a remake of The Fearless Vampire Hunters. I was so horrified by this dress that all I could think of when I first saw it was, good grief, that looks just like a parody of a tennis dress. And then I realised it was Venus Williams, looking like she's finally telling us where she kept her extra tennis balls. This is Adam Blackstone. Anyone heard of him? No? Well, I haven't heard of most of these people. Jill Scott, the dress itself suits her down to the ground, literally, and she looks good in it. However, I don't like those sleeves. I think they're a bit over the top, but I suppose she might find them handy for the extra sandwiches. Halle Bailey. It's amazing what you can do with a scarf and an old bra. Simu Liu, another waiter. And look, this chap is so poor he can't even afford socks. Olivia Colman getting it wrong again. I half expect her to float heavenwards to the sound of harps and trumpets. DJ Khaled, well, a very jolly, pleasant-looking person, nice suit, and the black shirt, of course, which is more or less de rigueur this year by the looks of things. Do you think those guys just get together and buy them wholesale? Amelia Jones, well, we can see she's slim. Unfortunately, though, she seems to have walked through a muddy puddle on the way in. Timothée Chalamet or Chalamet. Obviously, that suit cost so much he couldn't afford the shirt. Aunjanue Ellis in an explosion of orange. It suits her. It's a well-constructed dress. It's over the top, but hey, these are the Oscars. You'd have trouble wearing that on a bus, though, of course. Jamie Dornan, not bad. Judi Dench looking like almost every slightly overweight mother of the bride to be found, the length and breadth of the British Isles. Andrew Garfield, not sure that's a suit, but it's certainly an ensemble. Black shirt again. How original. Remy Bader, what rotten luck. You get an expensive dress and it splits just as you walk into a room. Better just tough it out. No one will notice. Ariana DeBose in a lovely outfit. She's a nice figure. It would be very smart if they'd made a proper job out of the bodice. Nicole Kidman doing pale and interesting again. The hip roll and that pencil skirt are rather nice, but that train looks like she got part of the skirt caught in the door on the way in. Jacob Elordi, smart, except for that clip-on tie again. Kirsten Dunst in a riot of red. That frothy material again, that seems to be a thing. It suits her very well, and she does look lovely. Another black suit and shirt combo, this time Jesse Plemons. Sorry. Rita Moreno. No! Bradley Cooper in a dinner suit. Well, at least he's wearing a white shirt this time. When I first saw this, I thought of those fake bows you find on cheap knitted sweaters. Then I saw how low the neckline was and I thought of really cheap sweaters. I thought, how could anyone go for something so tasteless and obvious? Then I realised it was Amy Schumer. David Oyelowo. Well, it's unusual, a bit of a break from the black on black. I just advise him not to stand anywhere near a hedge, though. He might get trimmed by mistake. Marley Matalin, very nice dress. The colour suits her. It's rather 1940s and the hairstyle is sort of Veronica Lake. And I take back, at least in this case, what I said about satin and other glossy materials, because the draping here takes all the frankness out of it. Louis Fonsi looks quite smart. Notice how he has some sort of trim on the lapels, which matches a trim on his shirt cuffs. Nice little detail for evening wear. Jane Campion in another house dress. Look, she's not an actor. She's a director, isn't she? So it's fine as house dresses go, and probably made of much better material than the house dress I have, which looks exactly the same and probably costs a tiny fraction of the price. Kieran Hines looking somehow incredibly camp. Another nightie, this time worn by Regina Hall. Stay away from the candles, dearie. Nate Parker in the butch stance. Why can't any of these guys rock a bow tie? Sean Hedder, a very plain dress which depends entirely on the fabric for effect. In my humble opinion, it could do with a different sort of neckline, but Hedder has a nice trim figure and she carries this off quite well. Mind you, she's got the sort of figure she could probably carry off an onion bag and make it look glamorous. Rami Malek looking smart. He's got the bow tie right too. I'll bet that's not a clip-on. And none of that tight trousers and long thin shoes nonsense. Lupita Nyong'o, just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. The hair's good too. For that dress. It's sort of exotic golden goddess look. It's a good simple shape and just fabulous material. Many women in that dress would end up looking like a Christmas cracker, but not Nyong'o. She looks astonishing. I want that dress, even if I do look like a Christmas cracker. Cody Smith McPhee, the colour might have been okay, except for the trousers. Just look how thin his legs are. Why on earth would you want to wear anything that shows off legs like that? He looks like an ice cream on a stick. Carolina Galton. My mum used to have curtains like that, even the same colour. We gave them to the charity shop after she died. Could it be? Nah. Alana Haim in Louis Vuitton. Lovely material. Look at that delicate scalloping round her feet. It's a shame it's precisely the wrong colour for her, though. And this one, faultless. Whoever this Becky G is, she has perfect taste. The fabric has a slight stretch, so it hangs heavily at the hem. At the train, another train, almost looks, like liquid. The little detail at the hips, they may be pockets, but they may be just a detail, but they're especially clever because she either has slightly wider hips or those pockets look like they're making her look like she has slightly wider hips, but you'll never know. This is someone called Iselin Steyro, and she appears to have fallen into a drain pipe. So easily done when you get too thin. Here's Jason Momoa doing the butch stance. The bow tie looks good, but then since it's the same colour as the shirt, it's difficult for me to tell. Reba McEntire looking like she stepped straight out of a Humphrey Bogart film, and that's in a good way. Beautiful dress, well tailored, fabulous material, goes so well with her red hair. Just look at the drape of that skirt. Lovely. Eugenio Derbez wearing a bow tie that looks like he borrowed it from his shoe. The jacket's too tight, the trousers are too narrow, and he's wearing long, pointy shoes. I suppose you might have got the impression I don't like this outfit that much. This is Rosie Perez wearing a checklist dress. It has the drapey sleeves and the pointless shoulder strap and the too tight bodice that pushes the bosom up to her chin, and the drapery around the waist, and the train from the shoulders, and the train on the skirt, and none of it works. This is a horrible mishmash, and it's even the wrong colour for her. Kevin Jones in dark blue. The tailoring is marvellous, but the trousers aren't too tight. Bow tie is absolutely villainous, though. Top marks at least for trying something a bit different. Wanda Sykes, I believe she was one of the 3 supposedly funny women acting as hosts. Amy Schumer, wasn't it her who said they had 3 because 3 women were going to be cheaper than 1 man? Which was the nearest she ever got to cutting-edge humour. Now, I'll tell you what the real reason was for the 3 women. They got 3 because they would control each other. There's nothing like peer pressure to keep a woman in line. As for Sykes' outfit, well, it's a working suit, really, and it does the job. Smart looking, but not glamorous enough to detract from the stars in the audience. Wesley Snipes in something which was apparently designed by Givenchy. Snipes looks ill, so I'm not going to say what I think about that outfit. Shaun White in a perfectly acceptable but not particularly well-tailored 2-piece dinner suit. Decent shoes for the width of the trousers and a bow tie that makes me think of 1930s airplanes and someone shouting, "Chocks away." Ruth E Carter is a generously proportioned woman who is spilling over the top of that bodice. In its turn, the white bodice stops at her somewhat ample waist and is then tucked into a black skirt, a contrast which exaggerates the width. To complete the picture, Miss Carter has then covered the whole ensemble with a moon-shaped bolero that makes her look even rounder than she probably is. She is trying to slim the picture down by crossing one leg in front of the other. Perhaps she could have saved herself the trouble and just chosen something else. Sebastian Yatra as the ringmaster in a gay circus. That startling pre-tied black thing around the outside of his shirt collar reminds me of something. I can't think, what is it? Furniture? Ah, yes, Chippendale. Amy Forsyth, a bit carried away with the flounces, aren't we? And what's that slit in the skirt for? Ease of access. Jessica Surfatti, and we can see that bow thing again, whichever shoulder it's on in the way round you're seeing it. It was in the pink dress earlier on. If you remember, the Audrey Hepburn one. This one isn't quite so successful because it comes up higher, but the colour is cute and it suits her. I mean, the whole thing suits her. The drapey bodice is all the rage now, and the skirt falls well into that train. More trains here than you'd have found on the Santa Fe Trail. This chap is called Tim Cook. No idea who he is, but my dad had a suit just like it. This is Kenneth Branagh wearing Dolce & Gabbana. I think the suit might be a dark blue. Difficult to tell. It has black lapels and other details, and he's wearing a matching black tie, which is not a clip-on. Renate, Reinsve? Yeah, I suppose so. Arsenic and old lace. What more can I say except that it's almost supernaturally horrible. Stephanie Beatrice all dressed up as a Mexican widow. I like the hair and the dress is smart. I don't know what that thing is coming from her shoulder though. Could be a sleeve or a train, but whatever. I'd advise her not to go home in an open-topped sports car. Mary Parent as a 1970s flower child, and DJD Nice as her 1970s pimp. Niecy Nash, who's also using her grandma's curtains, but apparently those wrong nails prevented her from sewing them together. Paloma Garcia Lee thinks she's something of a vamp. Unfortunately, she doesn't have the bust for it. Kelly green satin. Tasteful. And a train. How original. This event has more trains than you'd find in an edition of Thomas the Tank Engine. Maddie Ziegler carrying off a black ball gown. But sort of. Because what's that bunch over her stomach? I've no idea what it is, but it looks like she's lifting an overskirt to show the pencil inner skirt underneath. And why? The more sensible among you might ask. And the answer is, I have absolutely no idea. Demi Singleton, Someone give that poor woman a sandwich and a chocolate bar, please. Pinar Toprak in an astonishingly ordinary dress. Naomi Scott in what looks like an ecclesiastical surplice which hides her waist and then stops just in time for the satin to take over and exaggerate the shape of her abdomen. No. Pao Choying Dorji, ready for bed. Lily James, also ready for bed. Eva von Behr. Now, this dress is a lot of fun. I like it. The top part isn't very flattering to her, but still, I like it. And look at her handbag. At last, a sense of humour. Very nice. And just the sort of lightness we need from all the pretentiousness, because there's a lot of pretentiousness as well, that we've seen before. Ari Wegner, perfectly nice. She looks good. Not stunning, but good. Julia Vernon, who, judging from her shoes, was not actually prepared to go to an evening event, but having at the last minute discovered the invitation in the toaster, decided that all she had that she could wear at the last minute was a lampshade. Melanie Papalia, black see-through lace. Oh, how exciting. And here's Shayla Cohen. I like that top. It's a very tasteful way of hiding a bit of extra bosom. But as you go further down, you can see what shiny stretch knit can do. Like that second piece of cake, Shayla, you should avoid the shiny velvet. This is Diane Warren in green. Rachel Lindsay in a lovely dress that suits her. I love the cocktail length and the fluffy material. It's beautiful. Very nice. Tati Gabrielle, I think she might have that on back to front. Vanessa Hudgens, well, it covers all the bits it's supposed to cover, and it shows the producers that she's nice and slim. What more could you want from a dress? Well, perhaps style, originality, interesting fabric maybe. Laverne Cox in a smashing velvet number with a clever asymmetric bodice, but it does seem that, like Bill Murray, she's worried about getting cold and has also brought her duvet along. Sophia Carson, Deborah Carr as the Bride of Frankenstein. Jamie Lee Curtis. What on earth was she thinking of when she bought this? She must have bought it, or somebody's paying her to wear it. Maybe they're paying her to wear it. Sanya Sidney. Thank God for this dress. It makes life worthwhile to see such lovely fabric, such nice tailoring, and such a happy smile. Yeah, this is a dress she feels comfortable in because she knows it's good looking and it makes her good looking. Brandon Maxwell in a jacket that's too tight and a tie that's 3 sizes too small. Nikki Hilton Rothschild. I wish I could see what she's wearing on her feet. A crate of beer to a bag of peanuts. It's a pair of pink furry slippers. Rashumba Williams in a beautiful, elegant dress with a train that's actually there for a purpose. That is, it'll be hiding the kick pleat at the back of that very narrow skirt, so she can walk. The bodice fits well and the colour just glows. Caramo in a perfectly ordinary evening suit, trousers a bit tight. Amelia Zilber looking utterly miserable, and so she should. She looks terrible. Bran Goreski, an interesting jacket at last. Shame he couldn't get the tie straight. Kevin Frazier in a brown suit for an evening event. Reese Feldman and Ricky Thompson as the superhero and the nerd who wants to destroy him. Zuri Hall. You know, you really can have too many pleats. And that split skirt again. What for? Oh, don't tell me. I know. Maria Menounos in an elegant dress, and this time the front split makes sense. It's got a train too. Could you call these Oscar ceremonies a train of events? Or perhaps an event of trains? Terence J, thinking he looks cool. Nichelle Turner, just look how that bodice is biting in at the top. She's a pretty girl, and the skirt's pretty, and she's the right shape, and the idea's good, and it's just ruined by terrible dressmaking. And Scott Evans as another circus ringmaster. And that was my take on the Oscars, at least the fashion on the Oscars. I am Granny Opterix. I am to be found not quite so well dressed on most occasions on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I always let you know when I've uploaded a video on my social media platforms, which are Twitter, Gab and Parler, and I'm there as @GrannyOpterix. A lot of people, especially if they use YouTube, don't get notifications, so just try subscribing to one of those if you're interested in regular updates. Okay, so please click the like button. Please support my channel. It helps buy shoes for my horses. My cart horse lost a shoe last week, and while I was tramping round looking for it, because you can't leave a shoe hanging around in a field, you know, because it'll have nails and things sticking up. And I was thinking, some women look for shoes in fancy shops, and I look for shoes in muddy fields. Okay, right. Please support my channel, share the video, click like. Oh, you must click like. And I'll see you next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Granny Opterix design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.grannyopterix.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.